Hi, so today I wanted to talk about forgiveness and how to let go. Why is it important to forgive? Well, because if you don't, you end up hurting yourself and those around you. You're filled with feelings of resentment and anger, even feelings of revenge. And you bring these into the relationships, the good relationships that you may have around you. You build up walls between you and other people. And if you are looking at new relationships, then you can bring those feelings, those negative emotions along with you and poison those new relationships. So forgiveness is about letting go of these negative emotions, of these feelings of anger, resentment, hurt, and thoughts of revenge. Most of us have heard the phrase that seeking revenge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. What forgiveness is not is forgetting. To forgive somebody doesn't mean that you've forgotten what they have done, that you let them off, that you can trust them again, that you can carry on as normal as though nothing's happened. That's not what forgiveness is about. Forgiveness is about letting go of those negative feelings and taking back control. It's about you no longer being the victim of the situation. You're not carrying the hurt and the pain around with you. So forgiveness is freedom of all that. Forgiveness is also not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength because it's harder. It can be really, really hard to forgive people. It means that you are not letting those people haunt your thoughts and your actions. They no longer control you. They no longer push you into negative emotions. And this is why it's a strength. You're not condoning what they did by letting go. You're just moving on. So what strategies can we use then in terms of forgiveness? The first one that I say to people that come to me is you have to stop beating yourself up for the part that you played in it. Now, what part am I talking about? Well, it's those things where we say, how could I have been so stupid? How could I have not seen what was happening? How could I have been duped when other people could see what was going on? Now, these things just aren't helpful, and it is that just beating yourself up. So even though it's part of the initial reaction, you do have to let these things go. You are not to blame here, so just let them go. The second one that is really difficult is allowing yourself to understand the other person. Can you understand why they did what they did? Now, again, this doesn't mean that you are giving them a justification, but did they have difficulties in their lives at the time? Did they have things that were going on that may have pushed them to behave the way that they did? If you can do this, and it's not easy, but if you can do it, it may help you to be more empathetic and a little bit more compassionate to their situation. Again, not saying that you need to allow them back in your lives at all, but it might give you some perspective and just release some of those negative emotions from the situation. The third thing is to remember that you are also imperfect. Have you ever made mistakes in the past? Have you ever inadvertently hurt somebody? Is there a possibility that you may make mistakes in the future? Again, this is part of the process of getting some perspective on it, because the same way we would like to be forgiven if we made mistakes, then we also need to find the ability to forgive other people. Consider, no matter how bad this situation is, what is it that you can learn from it? Because you can always learn something. Every experience is a learning experience. Now, but what I want you to learn, what I want you to take away from it is something positive. So not every person is untrustworthy, every person is out to get you. Those are not positive lessons. But if you dig really deep, can you find a positive that you can take away from this situation? When you've done all of this, then it might be worth and very, very helpful, I know lots of people who do find it very helpful, to write a letter to that person, explaining your feelings, what the consequences are, all of that, just to get it out of your system. And then I would suggest not sending the letter, because that way you can be as vocal as you like without creating more damage. But it gives you the ability to give your side of the argument and explain how you feel, and then rip that letter up and throw it away. It can be very, very cathartic. And then you can visualise the other person in front of you, and you can say out loud, "I forgive you." Lots of people who do this exercise with me can say that they can actually feel a physical shift in their bodies as they do this. It's quite often a weight being lifted, literally, or just a sort of fluttering throughout the body as you say these words out loud. It's well worth trying. Forgiveness is about stopping being that victim. And it's very, very powerful, but it does take time. So do give yourself that time. Now, what if it's you that requires the forgiving? Well, just sincerely say sorry to the person that you have hurt. Don't expect them to forgive you immediately, because, as we've just said, it takes time, and you need to monitor your reactions. You can't get angry at them because they don't forgive you. You just need to move on in a respectful, compassionate way and get on with your life, again, without beating yourself up too much if you have genuinely said sorry and tried to make amends. And maybe just think about what you could do differently the next time. Again, everything is a learning experience. I hope this has helped. Please do get professional help if you need it, if you are finding that these thoughts, these negative emotions are impacting greatly and persistently on your life. Professional help can be very, very useful to you. Please do join my group, Midlife Movers and Shakers, and look for me on Facebook, Audra Marie. Keep safe.